Did you know one Oscar-winning actor married Elvis Presley's only daughter? Or that a legendary rock star once jumped the fence at Graceland hoping to meet the king? And can you believe a famous sitcom actor owns actual pieces of Graceland's original Decker? Number 10. John Stamos, the one with the Serious Elvis collection. John Stamos, known globally for his role as Uncle Jesse Katsopoulos on the sitcom Full House, and its sequel, Fuller House, has been a vocal and demonstrative Elvis Presley fan for decades. His character Jesse often referenced Elvis, styled his hair similarly, and even performed Elvis songs on the show. This wasn't just character acting. It mirrored Stamos's genuine lifelong admiration for the king of rock and roll. Stamos has recounted stories of his fascination starting in childhood. He reportedly saw the Elvis movie, Viva Las Vegas, at a young age and was immediately captivated. His connection goes far beyond mere fandom. He has become a significant collector of Elvis memorabilia. Over the years, Stamos has acquired numerous items directly linked to Elvis's life and career. One of the most notable pieces in his collection is reportedly a section of the original carpet from Graceland's iconic Jungle Room. He also acquired one of Elvis's Dachshund rings, featuring the letters TCB, taking care of business, Elvis's personal motto, and the name of his band. Stamos has also been known to own outfits worn by Elvis, including a specific denim outfit Presley wore. His collection isn't kept hidden away. Stamos has occasionally shared glimpses of his prized possessions. He has spoken about the responsibility he feels in preserving these items, viewing them as important pieces of American cultural history. His passion extends to Elvis's music and performance style. Stamos is an accomplished musician himself, playing drums, guitar, and singing. He has often performed Elvis songs both casually and professionally, sometimes with the Beach Boys, with whom he has frequently toured. His performances often channel Elvis's energy and charisma. Stamos has visited Graceland multiple times and has developed relationships with people close to the Elvis Presley estate. He participated in events commemorating Elvis, including anniversary celebrations in Memphis. He lent his voice to the animated Netflix series, Agent King, where Elvis is reimagined as a secret agent, touting his continued engagement with the Elvis legacy in various forms. Stamos's public persona is intertwined with his Elvis phantom, making him one of the most visibly passionate celebrity admirers, keeping the king's memory vibrant in pop culture. He doesn't just talk about Elvis. He actively collects, preserves, performs, and participates in honoring his idol. Number 9. Kurt Russell, the actor who didn't just play the king, he knew him. Kurt Russell's connection to Elvis Presley is unique and deeply personal, extending beyond his acclaimed portrayal of the singer. His link began in childhood. As a young actor, Russell appeared in the 1963 Elvis film. It happened at the World's Fair. In a brief scene, Russell, around 10 or 11 years old, plays a kid who Elvis pays to kick him in the shin. This small interaction marked his first encounter with the music icon. Decades later, Russell delivered a compelling and widely praised performance as Elvis in the 1979 television movie Elvis, directed by John Carpenter. This was a significant role, coming just 2 years after Presley's death, and it helped reintroduce Elvis's story to a massive audience. Russell's portrayal earned him an Emmy nomination and is still regarded by many fans and critics as one of the most authentic depictions of Presley on screen. To prepare for the role, Russell immersed himself in Elvis's life, music, and mannerisms. He captured not just the look, but also the charisma and underlying vulnerability of the king. The film was a critical and popular success, solidifying Russell's status as a leading actor. What makes Russell's connection even more remarkable is his personal recollection of Elvis. He has spoken about observing Elvis on the set of It Happened at the World's Fair, remembering his presence and how he interacted with people. Russell noted Elvis's kindness and genuine nature. This early memory provided a foundation for his later portrayal. Furthermore, Russell's father, Bing Russell, a character actor himself, also knew Elvis. Bing Russell appeared in Elvis films as well and had interactions with him over the years. This familial connection added another layer to Kurt Russell's understanding of the man behind the legend. Russell didn't just play Elvis, he inhabited the role with the respect born from first-hand, albeit youthful, experience and thorough research. He even provided the vocals for the Elvis songs featured in the film for certain international versions and home video releases, although Ronnie McDowell's vocals were primarily used for the US broadcast. Russell has continued to speak fondly of Elvis throughout his career, acknowledging the profound impact Presley had on music and culture. His performance in Elvis remains a touchstone for biographical films and stands as a powerful tribute from one actor who briefly crossed paths with the legend early in life and later brought his story back to the screen with conviction and nuance. Number 8. Bill Clinton, the president who played Heartbreak Hotel for the world. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton's appreciation for Elvis Presley became a well-known aspect of his public persona, particularly during his 1992 presidential campaign. Clinton, an amateur saxophonist, famously performed Elvis's hit Heartbreak Hotel on the Arsenio Hall show during the campaign. This performance, complete with sunglasses pushed down his nose, was a calculated, culture-savvy move that helped him connect with younger voters and project an image of relatability and cool. It became one of the defining moments of the campaign, suiting his ease with popular culture in a way few politicians had before. Clinton's connection wasn't just a campaign gimmick. He has spoken numerous times about his genuine admiration for Elvis, who hailed from the neighboring state of Arkansas. Elvis was born in Tupelo, Mississippi, but moved to Memphis, Tennessee, just across the border from Arkansas. Clinton grew up during the rise of rock and roll and has cited Elvis as a major musical influence from his youth. He often included Elvis references in speeches and conversations. During his presidency, Clinton visited Graceland, paying respects at Elvis's grave. He has shared anecdotes about listening to Elvis records and appreciating his musical innovation and cultural impact. His saxophone performance wasn't a one-off. He occasionally played Elvis's tunes at various events. The choice of Heartbreak Hotel, Elvis's first million-selling single, was symbolic, tapping into a widely recognized piece of American music history. By embracing Elvis, Clinton aligned himself with a figure who represented rebellion, the American dream, and significant cultural change. It helped craft his image as a new Democrat, someone in touch with the experiences of ordinary Americans and the cultural landscape they inhabited. His public displays of Elvis Phantom momentized the appreciation of rock and roll history within the highest office of the United States. He wasn't just a president who happened to like Elvis. He actively used his platform to acknowledge Elvis's importance, contributing to the ongoing relevance of the king in American life and politics. His Arsenio Hall appearance remains a frequently cited example of the intersection of politics and pop culture, with Elvis Presley right at the center. Number 7. Quentin Tarantino, the director who soundtracks his world with the king. Quentin Tarantino, the celebrated filmmaker, known for his distinctive visual style and eclectic soundtracks, frequently incorporates Elvis Presley's music and persona into his cinematic universe. While not a fan in the sense of collecting memorabilia or impersonating him, Tarantino utilizes Elvis's work and cultural significance to enrich his storytelling and create specific moods. His use of Elvis isn't just background noise, it's often strategically placed to comment on character, setting, or theme. In his 1993 film True Romance, which he wrote but did not direct, the protagonist, Clarence Worley, played by Christian Slater, is a devoted Elvis fan who receives guidance from visions of the king, played by Val Kilmer. This spectral Elvis acts as Clarence's mentor and conscience, highlighting the character's obsession and framing his actions within a certain rock and roll mythology. Although Tarantino didn't direct it, his script places Elvis at the core of the main character's identity. In films Tarantino directed, Elvis's music often features prominently on the soundtracks. These aren't always the most famous hits, but carefully selected tracks that fit the film's tone. For example, the inclusion of specific songs can evoke a sense of time and place, particularly the eras Tarantino frequently explores. His soundtracks are renowned for reviving older, sometimes obscure tracks, and his use of Elvis follows this pattern, trotting different facets of Presley's catalog beyond the mainstream hits. Tarantino's dialogue also occasionally references Elvis, embedding him within the cultural lexicon of his characters. These references serve to ground the films in a specific pop culture reality and often reflect the characters' own tastes or backgrounds. The presence of Elvis in Tarantino's work speaks to the enduring iconography of the king. By weaving Elvis into his narratives and soundtracks, Tarantino acknowledges Presley's towering influence on American culture, particularly in the realms of music, masculinity, and rebellion that often permeate his films. He treats Elvis not just as a musician, but as a cultural symbol, a piece of Americana that can be deployed for specific artistic effect. Through his influential films, Tarantino continually introduces or recontextualizes Elvis for new generations of moviegoers, ensuring the king's sonic and symbolic presence remains part of the contemporary cultural conversation. His deliberate curation of Elvis moments keeps that specific rock and roll energy alive in modern cinema. Number 6. Bruno Mars, the modern star, channeling the king's showmanship. Bruno Mars, the Grammy-winning global superstar, is frequently cited as an artist who embodies the spirit and showmanship of Elvis Presley for a modern audience. While Mars has his own distinct style blending funk, pop, soul, and R&B, the echoes of Elvis are undeniable, particularly in his electrifying stage presence and vocal stylings. Mars's connection to Elvis began at an incredibly young age. Growing up in a musical family in Hawaii, Mars started performing as an Elvis impersonator when he was just 4 years old. Billed as the world's youngest Elvis impersonator, he performed regularly with his family's band, the Love Notes, becoming a local sensation. Footage exists of a very young Mars decked out in a miniature Elvis jumpsuit, expertly mimicking the king's dance moves, lip curl, and vocal delivery. He even appeared in the 1992 film Honeymoon in Vegas, playing Little Elvis. This early immersion in Elvis's performance style clearly left a lasting imprint. As an adult artist, Mars doesn't directly imitate Elvis, but the influence is apparent. His dynamic live performances are known for their high energy, sharp choreography, retro fashion sense, and commanding stage presence, all hallmarks of Elvis's legendary concerts. Mars, like Elvis, possesses a natural charisma that captivates audiences. Vocally, Mars shines impressive range and versatility, able to deliver smooth ballads and high-energy rock anthems, much like Presley did. His ability to blend genres and appeal to a wide demographic also mirrors Elvis's groundbreaking career. Mars has acknowledged Elvis's influence on him. In interviews, he has spoken about his time as an impersonator and the impact Elvis had on his understanding of performance. He learned early on about connecting with an audience using movement and building excitement, lessons absorbed from studying the King. While Bruno Mars has forged his own unique path and musical identity, the foundation laid by his early Elvis performances informs his artistry. He represents a continuation of the kind of multi-talented, matic entertainer that Elvis pioneered. By bringing that level of showmanship, vocal prowess, and genre-blending music to contemporary pop, Bruno Mars keeps the essence of Elvis's performance spirit alive and thrilling for 21st century audiences worldwide. He proves that the King's blueprint for superstardom remains relevant. Number 5. Jack White, the rock purist, championing Elvis's raw energy. Jack White, the driving force behind the White Stripes, the Raconteurs, the Dead Weather, and a respected solo artist and producer, is a fervent advocate for American roots music, with Elvis Presley holding a significant place in his musical pantheon. White's appreciation for Elvis is rooted in the raw, primal energy of Presley's early Sun Records recordings and his role as a foundational figure in rock and roll. White's own music often echoes the stripped-down intensity and bluesy underpinnings of early rock and roll, the very sound Elvis helped popularize. Through his label, Third Man Records, White champions Why My Records and analog recording techniques, mirroring the era in which Elvis emerged. Third Man Records has even reissued historical recordings, including early blues and country tracks that influenced Elvis, demonstrating White's commitment to preserving the lineage of American music. In 2015, Third Man Records made headlines when it acquired the master tape of Elvis Presley's first ever recording, a 1953 acetate featuring My Happiness and That's When Your Heartaches Begin, which Elvis recorded at Sun Studio at the age of 18, reportedly as a gift for his mother. White's label meticulously restored the recording and issued it on Paimoy for Record Store Day, making this historic package accessible to the public. This act went beyond mere phantom. It was a significant effort in music preservation, highlighting the importance of Elvis's earliest work. White has often spoken about the profound impact of Elvis and other pioneers of rock and roll. He emphasizes the revolutionary nature of Elvis's sound and style, particularly how he synthesized blues, country, and gospel influences into something new and explosive. White sees Elvis not just as a pop icon, but as a crucial link in the chain of American musical tradition. His own performance style, while distinct, sometimes channels the frantic energy and unpolished immediacy found in Elvis's early television appearances. White's dedication to analog, sound, vintage gear, and the history of rock and roll makes him a powerful contemporary voice, celebrating the authenticity and enduring power of artists like Elvis. By acquiring and releasing Elvis's first recording and consistently championing the roots of rock, Jack White actively works to keep the foundational spirit of Elvis Presley relevant and appreciated in its purest form. Number 4. Paul McCartney, the Beatle, who met the King. Paul McCartney, a global music icon as a member of the Beatles and throughout his extensive solo career, holds a deep respect and admiration for Elvis Presley, viewing him as a foundational influence. The Beatles, like countless other musicians of their generation, were profoundly impacted by Elvis's arrival on the music scene in the mid-1950s. Elvis's fusion of genres, his monadic performance style, and his rebellious image paved the way for the British invasion and the rock and roll revolution that the Beatles would lead. McCartney has frequently cited Elvis as a primary inspiration. He has recounted hearing Elvis's early hits like Heartbreak Hotel and being stunned by the sound and energy which was unlike anything he had heard before. Elvis represented freedom, excitement, and a new form of expression that captivated young McCartney and his bandmates. The pinnacle of the Beatles' Elvis phantomum came on August 27, 1965, when they famously met Elvis Presley at his home in Bel Air, California. Accounts of the meeting vary slightly, but all agree it was initially somewhat awkward, with both parties slightly starstruck. John Lennon reportedly remarked that they had expected to meet Elvis but didn't know what to say. The ice was broken when Elvis allegedly said something like, "If you guys are just going to sit and stare at me, I'm going to go to bed." Eventually, guitars were brought out, and an informal jam session took place, though no recordings exist. They reportedly played rock and roll standards and possibly some Chuck Berry tunes. McCartney has described the meeting as a thrill, getting to spend time with one of their ultimate heroes. Despite the somewhat subdued nature of the encounter compared to expectations, it remained a significant moment for McCartney and the other Beatles. Throughout his career, McCartney has continued to acknowledge Elvis's importance. He has occasionally performed Elvis songs in soundchecks or informal settings. He recognizes Elvis's role in breaking down musical barriers and opening doors for artists like the Beatles. While the Beatles ultimately achieved a different kind of global fame and musical evolution, McCartney has never understated the initial spark provided by Elvis. His recollections of hearing Elvis for the first time in the legendary meeting in 1965 serve as testaments to the King's monumental influence shared by one of the few artists whose own impact rivals Presley's. McCartney's enduring respect helps solidify Elvis's place as a cornerstone of modern music history. Number 3. Bono, the U2 frontman, on a spiritual quest with Elvis. Bono, the lead singer of the Irish rock band U2 and a global activist, has a complex and deeply felt connection to Elvis Presley, often framing his admiration in quasi-spiritual terms. Pro Bono Elvis represents more than just a rock and roll singer. He embodies aspects of the American dream, fame's pitfalls, and a certain kind of raw spiritual searching found in music. U2's engagement with American music and culture, particularly during their exploration of roots rock on albums like The Joshua Tree and Rattle and Hum, brought their Elvis influences to the fore. The band recorded parts of Rattle and Hum at Sun Studio in Memphis, the birthplace of Elvis's career. This pilgrimage to the hallowed ground of rock and roll was a deliberate act of homage. During this period, U2 released the song Elvis Presley and America, a sprawling atmospheric track from the Unforgettable Fire album, which reflects Bono's abstract and somewhat critical fascination with the myth of Elvis. Bono has spoken extensively about Elvis in interviews and writings. He often discusses the duality of Elvis, the explosive, beautiful young talent versus the later, seemingly lost figure. He grapples with the meaning of Elvis's immense fame and its ultimate cost. Bono visited Graceland and has described the experience with a sense of reverence and curiosity, exploring the mansion like a shrine to a complex figure. One of Bono's most poignant tributes is the song Elvis Ate America, a spoken word piece released under the pseudonym Dr. Hughes 64 Jew Ellis, Dr. Hughes 64 Jew Ellis, on a Clembert album. The lyrics are a fragmented stream of consciousness reflection on Elvis's life, touching on his diet, his fame, his contradictions, and his cultural impact, using Elvis as a metaphor for American excess and allure. Bono's fascination seems tied to the idea of Elvis as a larger-than-life figure who contained multitudes, sacred and profane, rebel and patriot, innovator and imitator. He sees in Elvis's story a powerful parable about art, commerce, and the human condition. U2 has occasionally incorporated snippets of Elvis songs into their live performances, like Can't Help Falling in Love, often using them to create moments of intimacy or reflection within their stadium shows. Through his lyrics, interviews, and musical pilgrimages, Bono engages with the Elvis legend on an intellectual and emotional level, continually exploring the enduring power and mystery of the king, ensuring his complex legacy remains. Number 2. Nicolas Cage, the superstar who married into Elvis royalty. Nicolas Cage, the Academy Award-winning actor, known for his intense performances and eclectic film choices, possesses one of the most profound and publicly visible connections to Elvis Presley among celebrities. His fascination goes far beyond simple admiration, manifesting in his acting style, personal life, and extensive collecting habits. Cage has openly stated that Elvis is a major inspiration for his work. He has pointed to Elvis's performance style, particularly in his 1950s appearances, as influencing his own approach to acting, aiming for a similar kind of operatic, larger-than-life energy. This influence can be seen in the exaggerated mannerisms and heightened emotionality present in some of Cage's most memorable roles. Director David Lynch famously had Cage channel Elvis for his performance in the 1990 film Wild at Heart, where Cage's character, Sailor Ripley, sings Elvis songs and wears a snakeskin jacket, explicitly stated as symbolizing his individuality and belief in personal freedom, much like Elvis represented for a generation. Cage delivered impassioned renditions of Love Me and Love Me Tender in the film. His personal life became directly intertwined with the Presley legacy when he married Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's only child, in August 2002. The marriage was short-lived, ending in divorce proceedings just a few months later, but it represented the ultimate connection for a devoted fan becoming part of the Presley family, however briefly. This union brought immense media attention to Cage's Elvis obsession. Cage was also renowned as a serious collector of Elvis memorabilia, reportedly owning highly coveted items, including one of Elvis's private jets, the Lisa Marie, though he later sold it, rare cars owned by Elvis, and other significant artifacts. His collecting habits were part of a larger pattern of acquiring unique and high-value items, but his Elvis collection was particularly notable due to his stated admiration for the king. He has visited Graceland multiple times, sometimes privately. His deep dive into Elvis phantomim is perhaps unmatched among Hollywood A-listers in its intensity and public display. Even after his divorce from Lisa Marie and selling some of his collection, Cage's artistic and personal connection to Elvis remains a defining aspect of his public image. He embodies a level of devotion that keeps the mythos of Elvis circulating within popular culture, linking Hollywood stardom directly back to the king of rock and roll. Number 1. Bruce Springsteen, the boss who saw the king and tried to meet him. Bruce Springsteen, the boss himself, a towering figure in American rock music, holds Elvis Presley in the highest esteem, citing him as a seminal life-changing influence. Springsteen's connection to Elvis is deeply personal and began, as it did for so many, with seeing Elvis perform on television. Springsteen has vividly described seeing Elvis on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1956 as a pivotal moment in his young life. He recalled being mesmerized by Elvis's charisma, his energy, and the sheer power of his performance. In his autobiography, Born to Run, Springsteen wrote, "It was like he came along and whispered some dream in everybody's ear, and somehow we all dreamed it." The televised moment planted the seed for Springsteen's own rock and roll aspirations. Throughout his career, Springsteen has consistently paid homage to Elvis. His music, while distinctly his own, often taps into the same wellspring of American storytelling, blending rock, folk, and country influences, much like Elvis did in his early days. Springsteen's electrifying live performances, known for their length, energy, and connection with the audience, certainly echo the revolutionary impact of Elvis's concerts. One of the most famous anecdotes illustrating Springsteen's devotion occurred in 1976. Springsteen, then a rising star following the success of Born to Run, was in Memphis during a tour. Late one night, after seeing lights on at Graceland, he impulsively climbed the wall surrounding the estate, ran to the front door, and hoped to meet his idol. As Springsteen tells it, he was intercepted by security before he could ring the bell. When he explained he was Bruce Springsteen and wanted to see Elvis, security informed him that Elvis wasn't currently in Memphis. Springsteen was then politely escorted off the property. This legendary incident, born of youthful exuberance and genuine admiration, perfectly captures the depth of Springsteen's fandom. He didn't just admire Elvis from afar. He literally tried to jump the barrier separating them. Springsteen has often performed Elvis songs live, including classics like Viva Las Vegas, Love Me Tender, and Can't Help Falling in Love, treating them with reverence and injecting his own passionate style. He inducted Roy Orbison into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with a speech heavily referencing Elvis's impact. When speaking about his own musical journey, Springsteen consistently points back to Elvis as the catalyst, the figure who opened the door and showed him the possibilities of rock and roll. His enduring respect and famous Graceland escapade make Bruce Springsteen arguably one of the most significant artists carrying the torch lit by the King.